like to share about how FIDI contract and how about the adjustment provision works in some project, construction project in Indonesia. So this is like the glimpse about some important provision under the FIDIC book for clause regarding change in cost. So long, I noticed already addressed some of the provision, but I just want to recall quickly. So basically, to apply the adjustment changes in cost, it should provide under the contract there is a schedule of cost indexation. So this is 2917, but for the FIDIC 1999, it said that it should be there is a table of adjustment data, and we can take a look later what is that. And also the cost that will increase or score is about the amount payable, saying it could be addition or it could be deduction. And also this is also quite the important provision, because like from this provision saying that to the extent that full compensation is not covered by this subclause, and then it shall be deemed the accepted contract amount that shall be deemed to cover it. So it means that basically this provision means that the formula that provided in the FIDI contract not really can accommodate the actual rise and falls into the reality. But the FIDIC is same that you have to shall be deemed to have covered that. And also there is no adjustment for the current prices. And this is also saying that for example, if there is no indices available at the time, and then the engineer can provide with the professional and then can recalculate after that. And also this is also the last about the how it work if there is extension of time due to the contractor faults. And then they say that the index will be more favorable to the employer between 49 days before the expiry term completion and then the current index. Okay. So so this is the formula that everyone already noticed. So like what Long said, under the 2017, actually under the general condition doesn't provide the formula, but we can find out the formula under the guidance, the notice to special profession. It means they should be included if you want to apply this one. And so what important is we have to find out what is the PN. PN is like the adjustment multiplier factor, and also the A is the fixed cost. A, B, C, D. It depends on, you can define it into the labor, equipment, or other things. And the LN is that the current cost indices in that period, which means that 49 days prior to last day of the period. So in this case, we experienced that we put the IPC, and then the last day 49 days before that. And this is like the best cost indices. It say that this is the indices while the best debt. Okay. So this is also provided under the provision under the notice for to prepare the provision under the FIDIC 2017. It say that the weighting, this is the weighting. The weighting can be adjusted only if there is a variation that resulted this provision is not is unreasonable or unbalanced. So otherwise, I think it's quite difficult for you to propose to change the proportion that you already proposed during the tender. This is the example. This is used one of the project that used FIDIC 1999. So under the tender document, they provided the table adjustment data. They provide the table adjustment data. It said that the bidder should fill in this one instead. So this is what we fill. For example, like the source index, you have to mention that what is the index. If Indonesia using that Indonesia Static Authority, or maybe Philippines can use Philippine Static Authority, at least it's required that you should mention what index that you use. And also, if you notice like this one, index description, there is non-adjustable labor, equipment, material. So during the tender process, during the tender document, the employer already specified this component, labor, equipment, material. So for example, if one day you want to put rebar, for example, you want to put the what is that, fuel, I think it's quite difficult to do it because the employer already put it into the tender document that what you need to fill during the tender process is this one. This is the bidder proposed weighting. Non-adjustable, it means that The thing that the items are not adjustable, like a profit and also like the overhead is already also determined by the employer, let's say 15%. And then the labor, so this is the bidder should fill in this one. So what is the proportion that you offer and the equipment, the material? So the formula, it should be 100%. So let's say if one day there is a variation, it might you can might be entitled to change this if there is a significant, like the previous provision said. This is the example how it works in a project. This is the component that you already agreed, only divided into the labor, equipment, material, and non-adjustment. So there is no fuel here. There is no like what do you say, soil or rebar whatsoever. Only like for this component. And this is the weight. This is the proportion that you already offer. If you notice like this one, you already offer it during the tender period. So you put in here the provision, and this is the best index. The best index is say that 20 the best that you put the best that here, and then the index when the best that index the when the best that you have your source of index like this one. I put the Indonesian statistic. And just take a look that for labor in that index, what is the index in that on this date? Just put here, and then for the current index. So the current index, it say that if for my experience, we just like from the predicting IPC date and then 49 days before that. So let's say 5 July 24, and then we just fill in here what is the index during this period. You put in here, and then per adjustment is just as simply you just divide it between this and time this one. So this is the formula here. You just fill here. So from this is 1%, and then by using this formula in this period of July, you get the price adjustment coefficient or the factor of the PN is about 1.08. So it means that your price adjustment will be from 25 to 27 million rupiah, something like that. That's as simple as that. It's quite different with what the government contract in Indonesia apply. If FIDIC only limited into this component, maybe under the FIDIC also the employer can add more, but not that too detailed. But for Indonesian standard contract, it's very detailed. Even like each item of the work should there is an index, like you have to put the whatever in the unit rate breakdown. So you should calculate the index. So the FIDIC is very simple. And this is the procedure. How can you get the payment for the price adjustment? So under the FIDIC, it is part of the payment under the FIDIC. Just like when you submit a statement, you have to include the price adjustment on it. You can see the from provision 14.3, you have to include the price adjustment. But in fact, our statement for the like for the progress for the at the time not accommodate the price adjustment in that same period, usually for the previous period, because also happening there is like issue in industry, something like that, and then engineer review and then get the payment. So one of our project we experienced that there is a contract, right? The contract with the contract price. And then the price adjustment is not provided in that contract, of course. They make the amendment, and then the special amendment, they put like the contingency sum there, and they put the prediction price adjustment until the end of the project, and also the variation agreed claim. They just put contingency sum. So they make an amendment of it. So that's one of the example. And in some project, we change the contract price to include this price adjustment. So this is the part of the issue that usually encounter during the project. First about the current index. So this is from the contractor side. What happened if the current index much lower than best index? It means that there is a negative adjustment. So the issue that whether, of course, in the contractor side, they don't want to price adjustment to the negative adjustment. So the question whether the employer can make a deduction by, although let's say the contractor not apply for the price adjustment, but the employer still be entitled to reduce the contract during the negative adjustment. And so the second about the current cost indice doesn't fully compensate for any rise and falls. So if you notice from the 2017, it say that if let's say the current indices is very lower or is not represent, but under the FIDIC say that it say that the accepted contract amount already shall be deemed to all cover all they compensate. So it's quite difficult for that. And also like what happened in variation. If there is a variation, the issue about how to define the weighting, and also how about the best indices that we use if that variation there is a new price there, or there is a original price but there is only additional quantity, for example. And also, how about the indices for, let's say, delay by contractor or delay by employer, how to, when the indices date that should we buy. And also, this is the issue about there is no publicist index, or there is official cost index not yet released, for example. Although under FIDIC already provided, the engineer can use the temporary index and then recalculate after it publishes. So it means that for this issue should specify the industry formula components very clearly, and other adjustment costs. For example, you have to make the provision what happen if there is variation, whether the employers, the contractor still can be able to claim for adjustments or cost or not. Okay. So this is the last slide regarding the difference between FIDIC contract and also the Indonesia standard government contract. So for Indonesia standard contract provided by government, usually used for the the government project, we provide a provision regarding the price escalation, price adjustment. So it is the difference. If they FIDIC, it can apply if there is a table adjustment in the tender. But Indonesia standard contract, you don't need to put the table adjustment there. This is apply if the contract time for completion minimum 18 months. So let's say your contract is only 12 months, and then the price adjustment will not apply for that. And also in the FIDIC, you can apply it for the first month, right? But in the Indonesia government, after the 13th month. So the first requirement is that the contract should be 18 months, and then applicable only started from the 13th month. And also this one, in the FIDIC contract, I notice may apply for lump sum price because there is no prohibition on it. But for the Indonesian standard contract, for lump sum price, there is no escalation for that. And also they said there is like terminology in Indonesian standard contract using imbalance price is also not applicable. And this is for the component index. Component index, like previously I said, there is a labor, material, equipment already specified in the adjustment data. But under Indonesian government, so the component index is all item in the bill of quantity. Like for excavation, so what is the excavation? You need the equipment, you need the soil, you need the any labor, something like that. So you should calculate, you should find each of indices into the statistic. So not just limited into this. And about the weighting coefficients, if the FIDIC Red Book saying that it has specified a table adjustment data, and still the contractor can propose to revise it, but only limited. The total weight same with only one, and then so this adjustment. But for the government, still same, the total weight should be 100% of one. But the coefficient itself, so it depends on the unit rate breakdown that you have. If you have bill of quantity, of course, you have to make the unit rate breakdown, especially for unit price. So all the coefficient can be used for the calculate the price adjustment. So for the non-adjustable coefficient, it say I noticed that under the FIDIC, the table saying that 10%. But I noticed that in some project just make using FIDIC, but make 15% for adjustment coefficient. But for Indonesian government, saying that 15%, and also they say that 15%, basically the contractor can propose the percentage for the adjustment, but if not specified in the tender, and then it means that about 15%. And then it is limited for profit and overhead. So what the non-adjustable coefficient means under Indonesia. And for best cost indices, this is like the best date, but from Indonesia government, the best cost indices will be the date of tender submission, not the best date, not 28 days before. And this is for the current cost indices. For in the FIDIC rate book saying 49 days prior to payment certificate release. In Indonesian standard contract, in the month of the work is carried out. And this is what happened if there is a delay by the contractor. So under the FIDIC rate book in favor of the employer between the 49 days, the expired term completion, and also the current index. But the under the Indonesian government saying that the lowest indices between the schedule of work and also the actual work. And then the last, how about the interval payment? In FIDIC, you can get the payment for the price achievement per month, so you can invoice it per month. But under Indonesian government, it's only applicable per 6 months, not per month. You just calculate it and 6 months after, and then you can claim for that. And then also there is a requirement review by authority. So we have an authority special that can review this. So Financial and Development Supervisory Agency with BKP. So that's the price adjustment work in Indonesia. Okay, thank you, Trang.